Welcome to another class. This is same chapter, chapter 3, determination of income and employment, and now we are in unit 2, income determination and multiplier. How equilibrium level of income and employment is determined in the economy, and what is the multiplier? This thing is taught in unit 2. Okay, so let's start with the income determination. How equilibrium income level is determined. Okay, now equilibrium level of income, employment and output is determined at that level of the economy where countries aggregate demand and aggregate supply is equal. This is one concept. Another is where countries savings and investment are equal. These are the two stages where we can determine the equilibrium level of income and employment. Where countries AD and AS is equal, or where savings and investment is equal. These are the two stages where we can determine countries' equilibrium level of income and employment. Now let us start with the AD and AS. Aggregate demand and aggregate supply. This is called AD-AS approach. AD-AS approach to determine equilibrium level of income and employment. Now, according to this approach, equilibrium level is determined at that level of the economy where countries' aggregate demand and aggregate supply both are equal. At that level, countries' equilibrium level of income is determined. How it is possible? Let us go through a diagram. This is our x-axis. This is y-axis. Here we are measuring country's national income, country's employment, I am writing short, and output, any one of it. Because in national income we learned income, employment, output in terms of money, all are same. And here we are measuring in y-axis aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Okay. Now this is our aggregate supply curve, 45-degree line. Aggregate supply curve, and this is our aggregate demand curve, which is little bit of above on the y-axis, never starts from zero, we learned earlier. Now this is our aggregate demand, aggregate supply curve. Here both the curve intersect each other. Okay, now where the two curve intersect each other means what? Here the value of aggregate demand and aggregate supply both are equal. So at that level AD and AS both are equal, and this point is called equilibrium point because here the value of both the curve is equal. Okay, so this is our equilibrium level, and this one is called equilibrium level of income and employment. Okay, so OYF is that level where country reach to that level where countries equilibrium level of income, employment and output are determined. Why for? Because EYF is that level of aggregate demand which is sufficient to maintain full employment of the country. So this point is also called full employment level of equilibrium. This E is also called full employment level of equilibrium because at that level we get equilibrium level of income, employment and output of the country. So this is our equilibrium level of income output. Okay. Now if the country produces beyond that level, this is our full employment level. Suppose country is producing at that level, Y1 suppose. Now what happened in this level? See, at Y1 level, what we see? At that point of E, AD, AS both are equal. But here it is not same. Here aggregate demand is less, aggregate supply is more. This much is our aggregate supply, but this much our aggregate demand. See, this is our aggregate demand, and the extra aggregate supply we are getting. This is our aggregate supply. So aggregate supply is here more than aggregate demand. Okay, means what? There is excess supply in the economy. So this much of excess supply we are getting in the economy. Okay, because aggregate demand is less, aggregate supply is more. So there is excess supply in the economy. So what happened in the economy? Now economy is not in equilibrium, it is beyond the equilibrium level. Now if aggregate supply is more than aggregate demand. So it occurs at that point at y1 level. Now if this thing happens, then what happens? Aggregate supply is more, demand is less. Means what? Producer cannot sell all their products. Demand is only this much, they can sell only this much. And this much of product, they cannot sell in the market. So what they will do? Their stock will increase, so they will reduce their production. Due to unsold product, they will reduce their production. Now, if they reduce their production, what they have to do? They have to reduce their employment. Because unless reducing employment, we cannot reduce our production, so employment level will fall. If employment level reduces, means what? Country's national income also will reduce. That is, country's income level also will reduce. And this thing will continue until the economy again reach back at equilibrium. Okay, so step by step, the economy again come back at equilibrium, where AD, AS are equal, means producer can sell all their product. Okay, now just reverse thing. If the country is producing less than the equilibrium level, this is equilibrium level, suppose country is producing at Y2 level, then what happens? Now see, there is less aggregate supply, more aggregate demand. AD is more than the AS. Means what? There is aggregate demand more than aggregate supply. Here it was aggregate supply more than aggregate demand. Now aggregate demand is more, supply is less. Means what? Producer will find what? Producer will find if we produce more, then we can sell more. Because demand is more, supply is less. So what they will do? They will increase their production in the economy, because they know if we increase our production, we can sell, because demand is high. So how to increase the production? Unless we can increase the employment, we cannot increase the production. So producer has to increase the employment level of the economy. If employment increase, country's income and everything will increase. So what happened? Due to rise in the production, indirectly income of the country also increasing. So step by step, the economy again reach back at equilibrium level, where AD and AS are equal. So by this way, the country reach in equilibrium. If there is excess demand, then country will increase the production and increase the employment. If there is excess supply, country will reduce the production, income will reduce, and like that way, economy will settle at E. This is our aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach. Now, saving investment approach. This was ATAS approach. Now, saving investment approach. SI approach. SI means saving investment. Here also same thing. The economy reach in equilibrium at that level where countries' savings and investment is equal. This is the level where country reach in equilibrium. In ADAS approach, it was AD is equal to S. Now it is S is equal to I. Where savings and investment are equal, this is the country's equilibrium point. Now let us explain it through a diagram. This is x-axis, origin. Here we are measuring same way, income, employment and output. Okay, here we are measuring savings and investment. This is our investment curve. It is parallel to x-axis because here we are taking autonomous investment, not the induced investment. Because in a country like India, autonomous investment is far more than the induced investment. Private investment is very less, that is negligible. So we are assuming autonomous investment. And this is our savings curve. Okay, savings curve starts from the negative range of y-axis, because when there is no income, savings is negative. So savings curve is from the negative range. Now this is savings investment curve, and this is the equilibrium point, because at that level savings and investment are equal, because both the curve intersect. So what happens? This is our equilibrium point, and country will produce this much of income and employment. And this one is also called full employment, because this much of investment is enough to maintain full employment. So this is our equilibrium level of income and employment of the country, where savings investment can intersect each other. Now if, just like earlier one, if savings is more than investment, suppose at that level, country is producing more than the equilibrium, then what you see, saving is more, investment is less. S more than I. Now if savings more than investment, then what happens? Savings is more, investment is less. Means what? People are saving more. Okay, saving more means what? The people, consumer of the country is saving more. So if they are saving more means what? Their consumption is less, because they can save more unless they consume less. So consumption is less. When the consumption is less, producer, they cannot sell all their product, their sale will fall. Their sale will fall. If their sale will fall, what they will do? They will reduce their production, because they cannot sell all their product, they will reduce their production. When production is reduced means what? Side by side, employment of the whole country will reduce, because without employment, production cannot be reduced. So employment reduce. If employment reduce, country's income of the whole country will reduce, and again the economy will come back at equilibrium step by step. So this is the long chain. Due to rise in the saving, consumption reduce. Due to fall in the consumption, sale of the producer will fall. So they will reduce their production because their unsold stock increased, and then employment also will fall, and income of the economy also will fall. Just reverse thing. If savings is less than investment, suppose economy is producing at Y2 level, here saving is less than the investment. Just reverse thing of it. Then how economy reach at equilibrium? Here saving is less than investment. Then what happens? What does it mean? Consumer are saving less means what? They are consuming more. They are purchasing more good from the country. Means what? Producers sale will increase. Consumer are purchasing more means what? Producer, they can sell more. If they sell more means what? They will increase their production, because producer find, if I produce more good, I can sell more good in the market, because consumer is spending more money. If production is increased, then and then employment of the whole country will increase. If employment increase, income of the whole country also will increase. So by this what happens? The national income of the country will increase, and again the economy reach back at equilibrium. This is our saving investment approach. If saving is less than the investment, by this way the economy again step by step reach at the equilibrium point. This is our saving investment approach. Next topic is multiplier. Multiplier or investment multiplier. Its symbol is K. K is investment multiplier. Okay. Now what is multiplier? Multiplier mainly related with the investment. Okay. Earlier also we learned in unit 1, when the producer invests more, producer always invest in the target of earning income. So when there is more chance of income, then what they will do? They will invest more in the economy. So investment mainly done in the target of income. So there is positive relation between income and investment. Okay. Now if with the rise in the investment, our income also will rise. Generally income rises at a multiple rate. Okay. With the rise in the investment, income also rises at a multiple rate. That rate is called multiplier of K. Okay. With the rise in the investment, the income also rises at a multiple rate, and the rate is called multiplier. So multiplier symbol is like that, notation is like that. K is equal to change in investment and change in income. Okay, so the ratio between change in income and change in investment is multiplier. In symbol we can write like that. Change in income means delta y, y is the symbol of income, and investment delta I. So multiplier is the ratio between delta Y by delta I. Now we can explain it like that way also. Delta Y by multiplier is equal to 1 by MPS also. MPS can be further divided 1 minus MPC, because earlier we learned MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. So in place of MPS we can write 1 minus MPC. So multiplier we are getting 4 symbols, 4 formula. One is K is equal to delta Y by delta I, K is equal to 1 by MPS, and K is equal to 1 by 1 minus MPC. So in numerical we can use any one according to the requirement. From that multiplier you always get a numerical quotient. Okay. Now this is our multiplier. Now how we can explain it through diagram? Suppose x-axis, y-axis. Here we are measuring savings, investment. Here we are measuring income. Okay. Now this is our aggregate supply curve, and this is our aggregate demand curve. Okay. This is our equilibrium point, general equilibrium point. Aggregate demand means what? C plus I plus G plus X minus M. This is our aggregate demand. Now this is the income of the economy, normal income level of the economy, equilibrium level or whatever it is, income of the economy. Now if we increase our investment, multiplier totally based on what? Investment. If we increase investment, our income also rise. We are showing it in this diagram. Now if we increase our investment, then what happens? Aggregate demand will rise, because AD is equal to sum of these 4: consumption, investment, government expenditure plus net export. So if any one increase, aggregate demand will rise. So if we are increasing investment, aggregate demand curve will be shift upward just parallelly. This is our new aggregate demand curve, and this is what? This is the sum of C plus I dash. Investment earlier was I, now it is I dash. G plus X minus M. Rest all are same. Only investment is rising from I to I dash, and so aggregate demand curve shifts from AD to AD dash. So this is our new equilibrium point. Now what happens? See, earlier income was this much. Now income rises from Y to Y dash. Okay. So this is multiplier. Due to rising investment by this much, this is the rise in investment, and for that our income rises by this much. So ratio between the delta Y by delta I is multiplier. So what we see, if we increase our investment, our aggregate demand rise, and then our income of the economy also rise. So this is the multiplier function. Okay. Now multiplier is the ratio between change in income and investment, and value of multiplier lies between 1 to infinite. Minimum value of multiplier is 1 and maximum value is infinite. So this is the range of multiplier. So that's about our multiplier. Aggregate demand curve means this is our consumption curve and this is our income line. Aggregate supply means national income, or aggregate demand means consumption, investment, whatever it is. So this is our consumption, investment, this is the equilibrium point. Means what? At that point our income and consumption is equal. Okay. Now income consumption equal means what? Means at that level our saving is 0, because income consumption both are equal, so our savings is 0. So this is the point where saving is 0. Now if we produce the line and if we draw perpendicular on this axis, x-axis, so at that point what we get? We will get saving is equal to 0. So this is one point of savings curve. Now another point from where we get, this is the point, this is means what? Autonomous consumption. Means what? At 0 level of income, whatever is the consumption, this is autonomous consumption. Now autonomous consumption and autonomous savings both are equal. C and S bar are equal, because when there is no income, whatever is the consumption, its negative is income, sorry, savings. Okay. For example, suppose income is 0. When income is 0, suppose consumption never be 0. suppose consumption is 100. That time savings will be what? Savings will be income minus consumption. That is 0 minus 100 means what? Minus 100. Means when income is 0, whatever is the consumption, its negative is savings. So this is our autonomous consumption. With the same gap from the negative range, savings will start. This is the OC and this is the OS bar. And this distance as this distance is equal. OC bar and minus S bar both are equal. Because at zero level of income, autonomous savings, autonomous consumption is equal. Only sign is different. One is positive, this one is negative. So this is the starting point of savings curve and this is another point of savings curve. Now if we join these 2 points and produce upward, we will get savings curve. So this is our savings curve. Minus S bar S is our savings curve. So from consumption curve, we can derive savings curve. Just reverse thing. From savings curve also, we can derive consumption curve.